Welcome back to the Information Week News Desk, coming to you live from Interop ITX. I'm Sarah Peters. My next guest will be speaking later today about cloud security and budget constraints, a sadly all too common pairing. He's Senior Director of Information Security for First National Technology Solutions, Robert LaMagna Reiter. Robert, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Especially before your session. That's a lot to do all in one day. Okay, cloud security, we talk about it in two different ways. Sometimes the security of the cloud assets that we have, and also the security technologies available to us through the cloud. So which ones are you going to be focused on in your session today?
Sure. My session is primarily going to focus on organizations applying what their existing risk management strategies and requirements are to their multi-cloud environment. So I don't take a tool first or a cloud service provider security posture first stance. I really advocate for organizations taking what they are already doing well, and it's how do we apply that in the most cost-effective manner, and switching the decision around so that folks are making the right business decisions as opposed to acquiring cloud because it's what everybody else is doing.
I like that. There's a lot of people who are kind of looking around saying, well, I guess I should be doing cloud too. Can I have a hybrid cloud? That's the right thing to do, right? Well, that's okay. I like that. I like that approach to your session. As far as the budget constraints, obviously everybody has them no matter what they're doing. But in your experience, what kinds of where are companies tending to snip their budget the most? If there's something that's getting sacrificed when it comes to cloud and security specifically, what seems to be getting sacrificed?
Sure. So we all know the fallacy, unfortunately, that moving to the cloud is not necessarily cheaper. Up front, it might appear that way, but in the end, it turns out to be more expensive than originally anticipated. Some of the savings initially are from the lack of infrastructure, whether that's in-house, on-prem. Second is most likely switching from CapEx to OpEx. So while it's not necessarily a large cost savings if you look at the longer picture, but how you're consuming it is much more tied to what your business strategies are. So you can apply those expenses more granularly to the business units, you can apply them more granularly to projects. And if you take advantage of services that are offered by various service providers or various tools that are in a shared platform, your cost to entry is actually quite lower sometimes than a lot of organizations going out and purchasing it on their own. And the last component is really, we have a lot of tools in our organizations already, and I would bet most of us are using 50% or less of the tool's capabilities. So we're going to focus and talk about applying that tool and what you already have and making it work for you as opposed to throwing it out and buying something because it's recommended or new.
Give me some examples. What kind of tools do you mean? The ones that we already have that we don't?
Sure. I think most organizations have a pretty robust SIM in place. SIM technology has come a long way from event aggregation and log storage.
Absolutely.
Most SIMs have some sort of automation, some sort of elastic search capabilities, and if you combine all of the log sources that you're actually consuming, whether it be Office 365, your Azure, your Google, your AWS clouds, and you add those with your on-prem logs, you can create some pretty powerful automated actions and eliminate the need for other expenses elsewhere. You just need to focus on what your true deliverables and outcomes are going to be.
Now, I love that, and I think that there's a lot of people who need to hear that message, but so many of the security people that I speak to, and I'm sure that the same is for you, seem to have a problem really knowing their own environment, their own computing environment, even just the number of security tools that they have in the first place. And it gets even worse when they start thinking about the cloud assets that they have. Do you imagine that just that step of getting an inventory of all of the tools that they have could be an obstacle?
Absolutely, and it's a struggle. We recognize it's one of the foundations of a basic, not just a security program, but a basic IT function is having an hardware and software asset inventory and how that ties back to what strategic initiatives the business is undergoing and directly how that impacts our budget. So not only should that be in place, but if it's not, that's actually going to be one of the core underlying principles that I talk about on how to build your cloud operational security strategy. You need to know what you have and where it is, and if not, you're going to have to make some assumptions and work on your business relationships. That's something I think a lot of us in security are not quite accustomed to utilizing. It's amazing what we can accomplish by forming stronger relationships with folks in other IT departments, but even outside of IT in the business.
That is a message that has been coming through in a lot of different conversations I've been having, so I'm not surprised, but I am delighted to hear it coming from you as well. Robert, thank you so much for stopping by. It's been a pleasure. Robert LaMagna Reiter, if you are here in Las Vegas, check out his session at 4 o'clock Pacific
4
today.
o'clock.
And if you're not here, just kick a stone down a winding road mournfully while you wish that you were here. We will be right back after the break at the news desk. Stick around.